Hey everybody, today is Thursday, September 22nd, and we are so excited to start the pick video for these puppies. As you can see, they have been playing and are now tuckered out, which is exactly how we want them to be for this video, so that we can hold them and show them off in the camera, let you get an up close look at each one and any of their markings if they have any, and we can share some of their personality traits with you. So these pups have been up here playing. It is an absolute gorgeous afternoon here at the summit on our wooded land, and we're just sitting up here in the pavilion. We love to do puppy videos up at the pavilion because we feel like it allows them to demonstrate more of their personality. For instance, if we were to do the video in the puppy room at our house, which is, there's enough space to do the puppy room and they would be out playing, but we become the novelty in the room and the puppies just want to play with us the whole time that we're in there. And it's the equivalent of trying to get a puppy to demonstrate its personality in the living room of a house. And bringing puppies up here gives us a chance to have them demonstrate their personality, and this is the equivalent of taking a bunch of kids to the playground, to the park, and letting them play around. You're gonna see a totally different dynamic of their personality in that type of a setting. So we love bringing them up here to the pavilion and doing a video up here. We get to see more of their personality than we would otherwise, and we feel like we can share more of their personality. So we've actually been up here long enough. They've played and played and played, and we've got a Violet's Mr. Orange over here, and we've got Sage's Mr. Red over on this side, but everybody else has decided to just pile up together in a puppy pile here and snuggle together. It's not a cold day, but it has definitely cooled off, and these pups are used to warm temperatures. Our puppy room is actually intentionally kept warm, warmer than the rest of our house, so that they can focus on growing, especially when they're brand new. And so we just let it stay a little bit warm in there, so they're not super acclimated to a cool afternoon like it is today. By cool, I mean it's like 70 degrees. It's not that cool, but they're still feeling like they would love to snuggle, and that's exactly what they're doing. So we're going to go through each puppy and show you each one up close, and we'll tell you their dispositions and any of their markings. And we have a lot of puppies to go through, so I'm going to reset up the camera at a different angle and start going through them one by one. So let me pause the camera and we'll get going on that. Okay, I've got the camera repositioned and I've got my notes here being held down by a puppy toy as a paperweight and my phone, but I can see the camera on my phone. So I've got the GoPro tethered to my phone so I can see what you're seeing. I hope I do all the pups justice on giving them a good face shot and overall look over on the camera. And so we're going to dive in. We're going to start with Violet's pups. And I'm going to go in the order that we did on their birth video. And so this is no particular order, and we're just going to dive right in and go for it. Violet has 1 girl and 7 boys. So we're going to go with Miss Princess Pink first, and she is right here in the pile. So I get to be a little bit of the bad guy because I have to wake you up for the camera. I'm sorry. I know. Are you a little bit cold? Tiny bit shaking from being a little bit cold, but that's just puppy for you. So this is Miss Pink. At birth, she was 0.85 pounds, and now she is 4.65 pounds. So all the pups are at least an average size. Some of them are well above average, but Miss Pink happens to be right at the average weight. for a 5-week-old puppy. So 4.65 pounds. And at birth, she had a little dot on her chest. I will see if I can get her to relax just enough to twist her head back. She still has the little dot. She's got the little spot on her neck right there. So she has a little marking right by her collar area. And her back left toe, we're seeing, this is not something we noted at birth, but her back left toe has some slight markings. So overall, Miss Pink is kind of mid-range for color, not super dark, not super blonde, and average color for a Vizsla. Personality-wise, she is a middle-of-the-road pup. So even though she's the only girl in her litter, she's not a pushover. She doesn't let her brothers get their way. She stands up for herself. She's middle-of-the-road pup. So great disposition, great personality, and just a fabulous looking Vizsla. So that is Miss Pink. Next we're going with Violet's Red. So let me pick you up out of the pile here, Bubba. Okay, Mr. Red, sorry to wake you up. So at birth he was 0.77 pounds, and now he's 4.67 pounds. So he's average size for a pup of this age, just right at the target of where they usually are at this age. And if I tip him back, he's still looking solid on his neck and chest, still looking solid on his toes. At birth, we had noted that he had a few slight hairs around the groin area, and as you can see, they're going through a transition. Their newborn coat has much more definition than their puppy coat does at this age. Their puppy coat gets quite thin on their chest and belly, and so there's no hair down here on the lower half of their stomach area, and so their groin markings often disappear at this age, and they're hard to discern. And so we're having a hard time seeing any marking there, but that could come back. They will get a thicker, fuller adult coat as they grow up. And so Mr. Red, he's slightly lighter than average for Vizsla colors, but still a gorgeous golden color. So I wouldn't call him a blonde color, but just slightly lighter than some of the other ones. And you can see him shaking a little bit. He wants to snuggle back with his brothers, huh? Okay, we'll put you back. So Mr. Red, he is middle of the road personality as well. So not super dominant, not super submissive, and middle of the road personality. So next we've got Violet's Orange. If I can pick out him out of the crowd, he's at the bottom of the puppy pile. You can see these guys, they're just snuggling all together. It's hilarious. So Mr. Orange, where are you? That's Blue. That's another Blue. This is good. We're getting close. Here he is. He's right here. So okay, Mr. Orange from Violet. So this is Mr. Orange. At birth he was 0.83 pounds, and right now he's 4.54 pounds, and he was one of the more marked pups. He has a bigger mark on his neck, and I'll tip his head back. You can kind of see that. Can you see that mark right there at my pinky? That is his more heavily marked neck area, so right in the collar area on his neck. And then he had a heavily marked groin area, so that's not going to be like the most noticeable marking on the planet, but we're still seeing it now, so it is going to continue to be a marking that he'll carry as his adult coat comes in. And then he's more of a middle color, as far as deep depth of kind of the red. He's not super blonde, not super dark, more of the middle range on the color side of things. So Mr. Orange, out of all of the pups, we've got Mr. Orange. He is kind of the snuggle bug out of the group. He's a mama's boy. He loves to be around mom. It finds a lot of comfort with him. I wouldn't say he is anxious, but he's less adventurous than some of the other ones. So he's going to do really, really well with a family that just needs a pup that's just going to cuddle and cuddle and cuddle with him. A little bit less on the energy, less energy than some of the others, and loves to just cuddle and be held. Don't ya? Yes, you do. So that is Violet's Mr. Orange. So next we're going for Violet's Mr. Gray, and he is on top as well. So I'll pull him out of the group here. So Violet's Gray at birth, he was a little bit bigger at the 1.03 pounds, and currently he's 5.64 pounds. So he's not quite, but almost the biggest pup out of Violet's litter, and so he is definitely a good sized pup. So above average for pups of this age. We usually see them about a pound a week, and these pups are about 5 weeks, or at the 5 weeks. So he's just a little bit above average for this age for a Vizsla pup. So he has his more pronounced dot on his chest, if you can see that right there. And then if I tip his neck back, he did have a marking, very slight marking on his neck. I'm kind of having a hard time seeing that now, but it's gonna probably be there as his adult coat comes in. And then he's got his frosted back toes, if I can get him up to the camera. He's got a more frosted back right toe and a little bit less frosted back left toe. So this is Mr. Gray out of Violet's pups, and he is kind of a middle of the road color, overall color. So we don't have pups that are super dark out of these two groups, or super blonde. Every once in a while we'll see pups that are just the next shade darker, or the next shade lighter than what I would say the average Vizsla is. Every once in a while we'll see that, but not in this group. They're all pretty dang close to average, and just maybe a little bit lighter or darker than their litter mates, but pretty close to average. So that is Mr. Gray, and personality wise, he is a middle of the road personality. Not super adventurous. He's one of the bigger pups, so he does like to he is a little bit more confident. I shouldn't call him not super adventurous. What I meant to say was he's not super dominant, even though he's a little bit bigger of the pups. So he just happened to grow a little bit faster than some of the other ones, and but that doesn't make him, kind of the leader of the pack per se. So that is Violet's Mr. Gray, and next we're going on to Violet's Dark Blue, which is right here. He's right here. I'll pick him up. He was right at my toes. So Violet's Dark Blue, at birth, he was 1.19 pounds. So he was one of the bigger pups out of the group. And right now, he's 4.85 pounds. So some of the other pups have passed him up in overall growth pattern trajectory. And so he just hasn't grown as fast as some of the other ones, but he's not a runt by any means. He's still a very good size, very average size for a Vizsla at this age. So 4.85 pounds, and we checked him over. He's still solid on his coat color. We're not seeing any markings that we didn't notice earlier, and so he was looking solid to start with, and he's looking solid now. He is just slightly lighter than average, but still an average color for Vizsla. So beautiful coat here on Mr. Blue, dark blue. And next we're going to go to Violet's light blue, and I know he is buried in the pile here. I saw him earlier. Where are you, Mr. Light Blue? He's right here. Here we go. So this is Violet's light blue, and he was one of the bigger pups at birth at 1.14 pounds, and he has taken the lead of the litter. He's 5.88 pounds, and so he's the biggest pup out of Violet's litter, above average on the size for Violet's pups, and doing really good. He's just healthy eater, loves to eat. I don't think he is quite as energetic as some of the others, and that's why he's been able to grow a little bit more, is he just likes to eat and sleep a little bit more. Now his energy level may change as he gets bigger, but right now he is a little bit more mellow on the energy level side of things. So he has his neck marking, if I can get him tilted back right for the camera. If you can see, he's got some light hairs right here, about where my finger is, right in the fold of the skin on his neck. So he has that little marking on his neck, and then we noted that he had a marking on his groin, and I am seeing some lighter hairs on his groin area, so he'll carry that marking through his life. And then he is kind of an average color, slightly lighter than average compared to some of the other of his litter mate. So this is Violet's light blue. If you can see his polka dots, it's kind of turned inside out here. But this is Violet's light blue, and just a great pup, just sweet as can be, and good size for Violet's boys. So next we got Violet's brown, and he's kind of the farthest away from me out of this puppy pile. So still got him all snuggled, and Mr. Brown is over here. So I don't want to step on any or lean too far forward and lose my balance. So I'm going to walk around and go get him. So this is Violet's Mr. Brown, and at birth he was 1.19 pounds, one of the bigger ones at birth, and he's 5.33 pounds. So he's continued to stay on the big side for the growth patterns. Oh, do you want down? Do you want to go back to sleep? Maybe, huh? So he's 5.33 pounds, and on his markings he had one of the neck markings. If I tilt his head back, he has, could you see that? Right there. Pups don't like it when we tilt their heads back like that. That's normal to feel like, hey, what you doing, man? What you doing? So we actually like to do this video when they're kind of conked out, a little bit more mild, for being able to hold them side to side and left and right and lay them upside down like that. So he has that more marked neck and then a more marked groin area, and he has the frosted back right toes as well. Can I hold you up for your toes? Right there. And we're just seeing a couple light hairs on his back left right now. So that is a little bit new from the birth video. I don't think we had that noted at birth, but we're seeing that now. And so this is Mr. Brown. Personality wise, oh, I should say color wise, I think Mr. Brown is a little darker in color than some of the others. So he is a little darker than average on some of the others, from some of the others. And then also personality wise, Mr. Brown, he is a little bit more of the leader of the pack with this group. He's not the hugest puppy out there, but he definitely likes to throw his weight around. And we've noticed one of the things we look for with personality with things is who takes space and who gives space. You see, leaders want to take space. They don't give space. And so he'll just kind of walk up to some of the other pups and they move out of his way. And if they don't, then he just kind of pushes his way through them and that type of a thing. And so he's confident enough to do that and just be like, hey, I'm coming through. I'm going to be in charge and I'm kind of the boss, and just kind of makes his way through. So he's not like an aggressive pup or something like that, but he is more confident, a little bit more adventurous, and he's kind of the leader of the pack as far as Violet's pups go. And then we've also noticed the same thing as we've combined these pups for playtime. He has held that same role with Sage's pups. And so he's kind of set himself up as leader of the pack with both of the groups, and all of the other pups are kind of middle of the road pups. And so this is Mr. Brown, just as cute as can be and very confident, aren't you? Adventurous. So as you can see, he's also, see how he kind of wants to call the shots and move around. He's almost trying to hop out of my lap a little bit. He's like, I can do this, I can jump and go for it. So he's a little bit more confident. And so he hasn't jumped out of my lap, but he's saying I would try it if I could. So a little bit more confident pup. Great personality. Love this little dude, huh? So that is Mr. Brown. And last but not least of Violet's pups, we've got Mr. Grain, and he is buried down here in the pile as well. I've got to find him in the group. He is he is like underneath 4 puppies. So he's like down here. Blue has his rear end parked right on him. Mr. Red was parked on. Oh, here he comes, working his way up. Here he comes. He's like, okay, I'm done being smothered. There you are. There you are. Huh. So this is Violet's Mr. Grain, and we'll let him be star of the show for a minute. At birth, he was 1.3 pounds, and currently he's 5.4. So he was the biggest pup out of the group. Not quite the biggest now, but almost at 5.4 pounds. And the only marking that we saw for Mr. Grain at birth was marking around his groin area. And I do see a couple of light hairs there, but other than that, he is still a solid pup. So color wise, he is middle of the road on the color. Not he's just right there at average for color size and or color depth. And so size wise, he's at the bigger side of average, and then personality wise, he's just middle of the road. Just a sweetheart, huh? Just sweet as can be too. Smart little boy. So that is Mr. Grain. So next we're going to Violet's pups, and we're cruising right through these so I can try to make sure I get through everybody here. And so next we're on to Sage's girl that's pink. So before I start on Sage's pups, I will mention that Sage's pups all seem to be middle of the road personality. So we haven't seen any that are kind of like a mama's boy like Violet's Orange. They're all just middle of the road personalities. We haven't seen any that are just kind of over and above as far as leader goes. So I'm going to focus on the visible side of things and just let you know they're all kind of middle of the road personalities. So this is Sage's Pink. At birth, she was 1.03 pounds, and right now she's 4.67 pounds, and continues to look solid, overall solid. We're not seeing any markings on her. Middle of the road as far as overall color coat. If anything, she's just slightly darker than average with compared to some of the others, but middle of the road overall on her coat color. So next we're going to Sage's Purple, and at birth she was 1.27 pounds, and right now she's 5.22. So good size for a female. And her markings, she continues to look solid on her chest and neck, and she had the more heavily marked back left toe, and we had a very slightly marked back right toe, but I'm not seeing too many light hairs there. So that overall coat color for her, she is average coat color as well. So middle of the road on coat color for Sage's Purple. And next we're going to Sage's Yellow. Miss Yellow here. She at birth was the 1.38 pounds, just a very large female at birth, and she is 5.57 pounds. So she's continued to hold her trajectory on her overall growth. And we noticed at birth she was slightly marked on her back right toes, and she's continued to have that marking there. We're not seeing any others there. And her overall, we're not seeing any markings manifest on her chest or neck or anything like that. Oh, you want to give me kisses, don't you? Her overall personality is just sweet as can be. So Miss Yellow here, she just has those slightly marked toes. And overall, she's also a middle of the road coat color as far as that goes. So now that we're done with yellow, we'll move on to Miss Gray. And where's she at? Let me find you, Miss Gray. Where are you? There she is. So Sage's Miss Gray, she at birth was 1.21 pounds, and currently she's 5.77 pounds. So she is the biggest female out of the bunch and large overall for a female. She has her slightly marked back left toe, and we're noticing some very slight, just a couple of hairs on her back right toe. But other than that, she was solid everywhere else we could see on her. Overall, she is a little bit darker from overall coat color, a little darker than average. And that finishes up Sage's Girls. Next, we're going to Sage's Boys, and we'll start off with Mr. Red, going in order of things from before. And Mr. Red is a tank. At birth, he was 1.49 pounds, and I shouldn't say at birth, I should correct that. It was a couple days after we weighed them, after they were born, that we weighed them. But when we first weighed them, he was 1.49 pounds. Right now, he's 7 pounds. He tipped the scales at 7 pounds. So he is like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He's just a big, chunky boy. And so he has overall solid coat. We did note at birth that he had some slight groin marked area, and we're seeing that slightly still there now, and he may have some very slightly marked back left toes. But other than that, he is a solid pup. Overall, he's average in his coat color. So Mr. Red, just a big boy. He's gonna be large. He's gonna be a large one. So Sage's Blue is next. He's kind of far away, big reach for me to get to Sage's Blue. So Sage's Blue, at birth, he was when we measured him a couple days after they were born, he was 1.47 pounds. Right now he's 4.85. So he just did not keep the same trajectory of growth like Red did. He had the very slight groin marking, and we can still see a little bit of that now. And then he had a very slight neck marking, and we can see just a couple of light hairs on his collar area. Overall, he is an average coat for this litter, and he's just great looking pup. So 4.85 pounds and just as cute as can be. So next we're on to Maple's Orange. If I can find him. He is kind of a little, where did you go? Here he is, right at my toes. Maple's Orange at birth, he was 1.2 pounds, 1.21. Right now he's 6.04. So he is also well above average on size and had the very slight chest marking. And we can still see a little bit of that there. There's a few light hairs there. And very slight groin marking. We can still see a little bit of that. He is a little bit darker than some of his siblings. And that is Mr. Orange. Just another big boy. So last but not least is Sage's Green. And he at birth was 1.07 pounds. Currently is 4.58. So he's just average on the size for a Vizsla, but happens to be the smallest out of Sage's pups. And he had the very slight marked groin, and other than that, he was a solid pup, and that's still what we're seeing there. Just average on his coat color as well. Just right there at the regular Vizsla color look. So that is Sage's boy. And I'm going to pause the video here for a second